Well, good morning, all, and I would like to welcome everyone this morning and calling this meeting to order. Welcome all members of County Council that are present this morning and to our senior management team that will provide us facts and information so we can make the best decisions on behalf of the Corporation of the County of Huron and our 61,000 residents that we represent. A special welcome this morning to Minister Lisa Thompson, Minister of Rural Affairs. It is a privilege to have you with us this morning. Welcome also to all members of the public and media that are joining us. I would like to indicate at the outset that council meetings are available live through Zoom and recordings may be posted online on County of Huron's YouTube channel. You may be seen and or heard as part of these broadcasts, and your name, comments, and or presentation materials will become part of the public record. With that, we have the agenda that has been circulated in advance, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder that the Council Day 2 agenda for September 18th, 2024 be approved as presented. Councillor Bazinet and Anderson, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Do any members of council have a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof to indicate of any agenda item that we have today? Seeing none, we have the minutes of the 4th of September that have been circulated, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for the adoption of these minutes. P. Heffer and Alvin McClellan. Are there any questions on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And again, that is carried. Thank you very much. As I indicated at the outset, it is an absolute privilege to have Minister Lisa Thompson with us this morning. And I believe Lisa would like to go to the podium. I would invite you to do so with the Medical Director's Commendation Award. Welcome, Minister Thompson.
Thank you so very much, Warden. And it's a pleasure to join all of you this morning. And it's on behalf of the Deputy Premier and Minister of Health that I have a very special presentation to make. And so I'm wondering if Dave would join me here at the microphone. So ladies and gentlemen, not often, actually, Dave, I have to tell you, this is my very first time doing this. So it's an honor for me as well. And it's on behalf of Deputy Premier Jones, who serves as the Minister of Health, to be presenting one of Huron County's own accommodation. It's the Medical Director's Accommodation Award. And I can tell you that it's your exceptional care that you give to residents in Huron County pre-hospital that has caused you to be recognized by the province of Ontario. Your work is exemplary, you lead by example, and so it's with that I would like to share with you that on behalf of Deputy Premier Jones and on behalf of the people of Ontario, I would like to share congratulations to David Bisbach on receiving the Medical Director's Commendation Award. Thank you for your dedication to delivering exceptional care and supporting the current and future paramedic workforce. And I just want to share with you that we appreciate all you do in Huron County, and may you lead by example in the days, weeks, and months to come.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And if the warden would accommodate us, Dave, I would love to have a photo op with you.
For sure. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, these are awards are not given out. Person doesn't do it alone. It takes a family to support as well. So I'm wondering if Mrs. Bisbach would like to join us for a quick picture. Could you enable him to do what he does so well? So thank you. There we go. One more. Oh, it's always about pictures. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations again. Thank you very much for that, Minister Thompson. And on behalf of Huron County Council, David, congratulations. Not only that, however, thank you for what you do for all of our residents. In a time of need, you're always there. And we really do appreciate that on behalf of Huron County Council. Thank you very much. Thank you. And with that, I would like to invite Minister Thompson back to the podium. I believe you have a further comment to make, Minister Thompson, please.
I will turn my mic on now and repeat myself. And it's really a pleasure to be back with Huron County Council. And we're doing something special today. Dawson Hallahan joined me last summer as a student. And I think it's interesting to note, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Dawson, as he was sitting down, said this is his very first time attending county council. And back in the day when people weren't mic'd up on an individual basis, there used to be opportunities to be pages. And so Dawson, I actually served as a page at county council once upon a time. And it's pretty special what happens here when you see municipalities from across Huron County come together to think about how we can better serve the people of Huron County. And to each and every one of you, I thank you. Many of you sent representatives, if you didn't attend yourself, at a meeting that we just had in Clifford, and it's with regards to rural economic development. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for sending representatives because your voice matters. We're in the midst of standing up this brand new ministry, and it's going to be based on a rural economic strategy, and your voices matter. So to you and your staff, thank you so very much for coming to Clifford the other night. That strategy is going to inform legislation that I hope to lay down by early December that will further cement this brand new ministry because it matters. Rural Ontario matters. I just was meeting with the Premier yesterday, and he's really supportive of everything we're doing. And then in the spirit of modernization, we're also taking a look at the Rural Economic Development Fund specifically, and to see how we can make sure it's meeting the current needs of today for municipalities, Indigenous communities, as well as not-for-profits. And so with that, we would hope to be able to use Roma as a launch pad for the modernization of the program known as RED. So stay tuned on that, but it's an exciting time for me and this brand new ministry. And with that though, as we look forward, we always must take time to look back. And if growing up Thompson, if anyone knows my family, you know that history matters. And one of the first projects that Dawson had as a summer student was to pull a composite together. And full disclosure, I was inspired by Bob Bailey. He has a composite of all MPPs from past to present in his office at Queen's Park and also in his riding of Sarnia-Lambton. And so, you know, the best compliment is stealing an idea, right? And so that's what I did. So thank you, Bob Bailey. But with that, Dawson worked incredibly hard, and it took him a number of months to pull together the composite that represents people who had the opportunity and the willingness to serve Huron County and Bruce County right from inception of the Ontario Legislative Assembly. So it's with that spirit that today I would like to present to you, and Dawson, this is your work, so hold it up.
Sure.
I would like to present to you the history of members of provincial parliament for Huron Bruce, and you'll recognize a few people on this. Mayor Klopp, I'm looking at you directly, but I felt it was important when we celebrate history of this amazing county. It doesn't matter what color, stripe, or polka dot. What matters is we have people that care enough not only to serve at the municipal level, but beyond. And you all do that. But in this particular case, we're recognizing the historical pathway that led us up to today in 2024. So Warden McNeil, I would be honored if you would come down and accept this from Dawson as a token of our appreciation for all of you. And I hope you can find a special spot in this amazing county seat to let people know that history matters and serving the public matters as well. Thank you so very much. Dawson? I should actually grab your phone and take. Yeah.
We can make sure these are sent to you.
Okay. Our plan to, thank you. Just so you know, it's our plan to make sure that the County of Bruce receives this as well, also our museums. So on that note, thank you all for serving, and you're making your own pathway in the history of Huron County, and we thank you sincerely for that. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you very much for that, Minister Thompson, and to Dawson for the effort that you put into that. And to all of the MPPs that have served our riding in the past, many of them have been members of this Huron County Council at a point in time. And Minister Thompson, Huron County is completely indebted to you for what you do in representing rural Ontario on our behalf. The respect that you have in the province and with this government is certainly earned. And on behalf of Huron County Council, congratulations and thank you for all the hard work that you do for this riding and Huron County. Thank you. Let's show our appreciation. With that, I would like to move on to item number 2, which is enhancing commuter safety. And I would invite Tom and Lindsay Hayter to present to Huron County Council this morning. Please go to the podium and turn it on, and we look forward to your comments to us, please.
We don't need
Listen up.
Good morning, and thanks for having us at County Council. So good morning to all the council members. I'm Tom Hayter, and this is my daughter, Lindsay Hayter, Hayter Mason. And we're here to talk about trying to encourage safety around our business. We have a bunkie that we had built, and we have a lot of employees that have to commute to work. We also have a lot of customers that come to our business, and we're looking to enhance safety around our business. And that's why we're here today. We started in 1948. My father, well, actually, there's a picture. I'm in that picture there. But so we started in 1948, growing a couple hundred turkeys outside, and most of them we lost. So I think we ended up getting 50 to market. And at that time, we would harvest turkeys, and the local farmers would come and help us because we were only Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it was pretty, well, not easy, but it was not as year-round demand. Now we're into more of a year-round production. We're 3 generations farm so far, my dad, then my sister Joanne and I, and we now have 6 children under us. So there's a total of 9 actually, and I forgot my wife Elaine, sorry. So there's 3 generations of the second generations and 6 additional third generations in the business now. Yeah, so I already said that. Our growth, we've grown somewhat since then, slow growth, but we've grown quite a bit. We now service businesses like Sobeys, HelloFresh, Longo's, Farm Boy. They're pretty big businesses that we supply over 500,000 turkeys a year to. And then over the years, we've had quite a few perils, losing turkeys outside in the heat and different things. So it hasn't been easy, but we're pretty proud of where we are now. And we also crop to support production of our turkeys so that they can handle our nutrient management plan, our manures, and we grow our feeds and beddings. So now I'll pass it over to Lindsay.
So Dad mentioned we have had some growth. So we now have employees of 140 team members year round, and some of them have worked with our first generation grandma and grandpa. We were able to celebrate them recently, monumenting 25 and 30 years of service with our business. So we're very grateful for that. We do still face labor shortages. Harvesting turkeys is not glamorous work, and the equipment that we need to use to compete with international companies like Butterball is quite complex. We do rely very heavily on the foreign worker program. We started in 2017. Since then, have had 6 team members become permanent residents. Their family members now go to our rural schools, and we have 8 others that we are trying to support with the permanent residence program. They do play on our local sports teams, and we have English teachers there twice a week to try to integrate them into the community. There is a lot of bad publicity around the foreign worker program and how they are treated, unfortunately, and we are doing everything we can to fight that stigma and set better standards for wages, for wage opportunities and employment opportunities and integration into the community. Next slide, please. As you know, there is a shortage of housing in Ontario, especially rural Ontario. So we have taken on a project in 2023, thanks to the help of the municipality. We were able to build a bunkhouse. So this unit here, there's 4 individual units here, and they are identical. The first floor of each has a kitchen, 2 bathrooms, and laundry. And then the second level, they each have a bedroom. So there's 6 bedrooms. So in total, this houses 24 individuals with the breezeway underneath and an area in the back for soccer, and in the front, lots of basketball. They're pretty talented individuals. Some of them do play competitively in London as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. The bunkhouse was built west of the farm. We chose this location because at the time, we needed to have it on the attached to the home farm property, but for biosecurity reasons, we needed some distance from the barns. Collectively, between the bunkhouse, farmhouses, apartments and houses within Dash, we do have 40 team members going across this path multiple times a day. We do our best to organize transportation via car, but they do have staggering shifts. And also when they're coming from the east, the community uses that path. We are one of the only retail stores in town. So there is children and family members walking along that gravel path as well. So we are asking for the county's support to pave those shoulders. So it's approximately a kilometer of pavement in order to get these individuals back and forth safely. Please. So this is just a picture of what we're looking at here. So these are our team members. We do provide them orange vests and make sure that we are doing our best to keep them visible, but we can't do that for the community. I can't mandate orange vests for them. But we still do think that there'd be a lot of value in having that paved for their safety, to keep them safe. We have seen this done in other places. For example, east of Exeter on Highway 83, they had it paved for Huron produce. Those individuals, it was not to commute to work. It was for them to get to town for personal reasons, where we're asking for it to be for their daily commute. And it is a 1 kilometer of pavement versus their 2.5 kilometers of pavement that they had. In December, we did apply to have this approved. We did not make the budget, so we are here again asking to have this shoulder paved and to be reconsidered. I think that's it. Yeah, so thank you very much for your time, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Tom and Lindsay, for those comments of presentation to us. Do any members of council have any questions or comments of either Lindsay or Tom? And I'll go first to past Warden McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I don't really have a question, more a comment. it's always going to be easy to justify doing something for a safety reason. And it doesn't matter what it is. You can always come up with a good justification. And I'm not saying that it's a bad idea, but the problem is when we start getting one-off requests to do these, we weren't willing to change our policy in the county to do bike lanes because it was going to cost way too much. Now we've started adding extra pavement to roads to assist businesses that, in fact, if you were building a new business and it was going to be increased traffic, the business would actually have to pay for the extra pavement for turning lanes and things like that. It wouldn't be the county or the province that's paying for those things. So if these are things that we want to start doing one-offs of, I think the county should come up with a policy of criteria that needs to be met before we start just adding these to the overall budget. If we have a policy and it meets that policy, then I'm fine with that. But we do need to have some guidelines in place so that we're not getting one-off requests, because one-off requests, it's always easy to justify a single story.
Thank you very much for that comment. Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through the warden, just remind council, these are not bike lanes that we're talking about. This is paved shoulders. The cost for the lanes east of Exeter, I have an email here, was $335,000 plus HST, and that is under OCIF. That was done 2 years ago, I believe. Imran, do you remember, or was that last year? We have last year, I believe. So I guess in that area there was a lot bigger than what we're talking here. The haters have a proven track record. We're talking about economic development. We're talking about all sorts of things that are benefiting the county itself, and rural Ontario is important. So we as members of county council, as I keep saying, our greatest responsibility is to the safety of the public who elected us. This area is not going to get less busier. It's going to continue to get busier. We're putting money into Dashwood right now. If we're going to do this project today or this year, next year, whenever the pavement is done, that's the time to do it because it's more cost efficient to do that. So I would think that this is a great presentation you've done, excellent work. And again, I will fully support it when it comes back for budget, and I think we all should.
Thank you very much for that. Any additional questions or comments? I'll go next to Councillor Klopp, please.
Thank you. With regards, I guess this is to staff, we did have it in as a budget item, so we have an estimated cost, I would assume. I didn't see this in the report that I saw here, which is fine, but and also talking about process, we normally it's right in our procedure or bylaw, I guess, when anybody does come with presentations that we can ask for a more detailed costing. And so at this time, if it's okay, I would move that we take this recommendation for information, but I would like to add that we request that the staff come back with a detailed cost of the project and also its timing, because it is true we are working on that road, and clearly if it passes, it would make more sense for all the people that we do it at the same time. Common sense would say that. So if my motion is that we take the motion that's here, presented for information, and then add request that the report come back to council with the detailed costs and any other information that staff have, and comes back obviously at some point.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councillor Klopp, would you be okay to break this into two motions? We'll receive it for information, and then I'll call on you for a secondary motion for a staff report. Would that be okay with you?
I'm open to your suggestion, sure.
So would you move that we receive this for information purposes first?
Sure.
And that would be seconded by Councillor Finch, that the presentation by Tom and Lindsay Hayter requesting paved shoulders for Highway 83 as presented for information purposes. All in favor of that motion? And that is supported by council. And the secondary motion, Councillor Klopp, would you like to make for a staff report on the request of Tom and Lindsay Hayter for paved shoulders on Highway 83? Would you so be inclined to make that motion? And it would be seconded by Past Warden McClellan. Any further discussion? I'll go to Past Warden Ginn, please.
Yeah, just to be clear, when is that road being paved?
I will defer to staff, to Imran, for that response to that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Through you, it will be paved next year as part of the surface course paving of the project.
Okay, so that would be 2025. And a follow-up, please.
Yeah, I would certainly support this. I think it should come back to to budget and considered there. I don't want to prejudge a budget vote, but yeah, I think this is something makes a lot of sense to do it when the road's being paved. So if that could come back as an item in budget.
Okay, so the first step will be a staff report on this. It has been moved and seconded. All in favor of a staff report? And that is supported by council. Thank you very much, Tom and Lindsay, for presenting to us this morning. Much appreciated. We do have the, now we'll open it up for councillor comments. If any councillors have any comments that they would like to share at this time. Councillor McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I just wanted to say last night was the grand opening of our annual Brussels Fall Fair. I wanted to thank you for showing up and giving a few remarks. It was a great evening, so it was. Lots of kids, lots of people around. I think they served over 450 meals last night. So thanks again. Also thanks to Councillor Jamie Heffer for showing up with a few remarks, and as well as our mayor as well. The second thing I just wanted to mention too, and I still have the mic, is last Thursday night was Meet Your Neighbor night in Brussels. I just wanted to thank Beth. It was a great night, so it was. There was lots of people there. There was people there that actually had moved into Brussels within, I believe, the last 2 weeks. So it was great. So people got to talk to other people, and it was well done. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those comments, Councillor McClellan. Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. And through the warden, this past Friday, I was invited to Shipka, Ontario, and met with the Consulate General from Bulgaria, who has been in Shipka many times over the last few years, to support the connection between Shipka, Ontario with Shipka, Bulgaria. I want to just commend Cecilia Mueller from Shipka, who's actually put together a plaque that is now on display in front of her house with the Bulgarian flag. Rosehip plants that were brought from Bulgaria are now growing very nicely in front of her house, and she's done a really nice job of display with that. And if anyone would like to see that, come over to her house at any time. She's right across from the Shipka Drive-In, and but she's done an amazing job. And again, we need to really recognize and commend these individuals within our community who take a leadership role to recognize and remember and celebrate the history of our communities. So kudos to Cecilia and her family, John. But just want to bring that to County Council's attention.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Finch. Councillor Anderson, please.
I'd just like to echo Councillor McClellan's comments about the staff doing the Meet Your Neighbor night. I attended the one in Clinton last night, and it was very enlightening. There were lots of different service providers there. Ones that I had an idea of what they did, but once they got discussing what they were providing, there's a lot more that they provide than what I even realized. And it was nice to meet the new people that have moved into the community. So thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And I absolutely concur, as we all do, with that. Past Warden again, please.
Yeah, thank you. My comments will be related to the SWIFT announcement earlier, just recently. It's something the board has been aware of for some time. You'll hear it referred to as SWIFT 2.0. And the province has asked SWIFT to look after some of the sites that haven't been serviced to this point. These are sites that were just simply too expensive to service. But I did want to mention that the province came to SWIFT, and I think there's a recognition that SWIFT can do a better job of this than what the Ministry of Infrastructure was able to do. And I think we should be proud of that, and I'd like that conveyed to the Western Wardens. I'm sure they're aware of the announcement as well. I believe there's 34 sites in Huron County that are going to be serviced, and these are expensive sites to do, but yeah, we look forward to completing those projects.
Thank you very much for that, Past Warden, again, and I absolutely concur with that. And on behalf not only of this council, however, on behalf of the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus, we met with Minister Surma and had this discussion. And it is certainly great that the province recognizes the ability of SWIFT to implement fiber. That is great. Thank you very much for sharing that. And Councillor Heffer, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. I just want to reiterate, we had Meet Your Neighbor last Saturday through Mark Knockmans and Vicky Lass's group. Just a positive outcome that some of the people are having with that have moved in, immigrated into this area. It's just positive hearing positive things like that, and just the gaps that they're filling with jobs is just wonderful. So again, thanks to Mark Knockmans for able to make it there too.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Heffer. Any additional comments of anyone else? And I would like to note how positive all those comments were of the way that Huron County is moving forward on many different fronts. And thank you very much to everyone for your involvement to enable this to happen. It does not happen by chance. With that, we do have a consent agenda that encompasses 7.1 through 7.5. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull from this? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to approve items 7.1 through 7.5 with actions as noted. And that is Councillor Vanstone and Bazinet. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Under Social and Property Services, it is a pleasure for me to welcome James Koskamp to the podium to respond to any questions on the One Care Home and Community Support Service lease. Do we have any questions for Jamie on this? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report entitled One Care Home and Community Support Services Lease as presented for information, and with the appropriate bylaw be drafted to enable the provision of using office space within Huron County Corporation buildings. And that would be Councillors Dietrich and Alvin McClellan. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And thanks very much, Jamie. Item number 2 is the installation of standby generator at 31 Main Street, Zurich. Jeff Kerslick is joining us by Zoom. Good morning, Jeff. And again, Jeff is capable of answering any questions the council may have on this. Do we have any questions? And I go to Councillor Klopp, please.
Thank you. With regards to the two of them, because I assume they're, the way I read them, they're both the same. This was in our 2024 budget when we approved it.
Thank you for the question. Jeff, please.
Hey, good morning, and through you, Warden. Yes, that's correct. Both jobs were identified in the budget, and as you'll see, both projects did come in under that budget.
Thank you very much for that, Jeff. Councillor Klopp, follow up.
Thank you for that confirmation. In light of the fact that I passed it already, I guess I'll make the motion to go ahead with it.
Okay, that motion has been made to receive this report for information purposes and award the tender to Jayden Mechanical in the amount of $145,000 and $145,012.14 with including provisional items, and further that the appropriate bylaw be drafted to enable this. It has been moved. Do we have a seconder? And that is Councillor Finch. Questions, comments? All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. I thank you very much. And Jeff is also here for item 3, and that is a standby generator at 85 West Street. Do we have any questions on this? Councillor McClellan, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. Just a quick one, and I just assume these are natural gas powered generators.
Thanks for the question. Jeff, please.
Hey, good morning, and through you, Warden. Yes, that's a great assumption. They are both natural gas generators.
Okay, thank you for that. Any further questions or comments? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report titled Installation of Standby Generator at 85 West Street and award the tender to Jayden Mechanical in the amount of $193,859, including provisional items, and the appropriate bylaw be drafted to award this tender to Jayden's Mechanical Limited. Moved by Councillor Harding, seconded by Councillor Dietrich. All in favor of this motion? And again, that is carried. Thank you very much. And thanks very much, Jeff, for this. Number 4, and I would welcome Jamie again, and this time to speak to Huron County Council on the end of operating agreements as far as the term of reference. Jamie, please, and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you. Through you, Mr. Warden. So as service manager for Huron County, I would like to outline our responsibilities and upcoming changes related to community housing through the terms of reference report in today's agenda, along with 2 subsequent reports at future council meetings. The terms of reference presents an opportunity to create processes and practices to guide negotiations with housing providers as their respective operating agreements come to an end. Since 2001, the County of Huron has been responsible for funding and administering community housing, which is a critical service that provides affordable housing for low and moderate income families. Our responsibilities include maintaining a wait list for subsidized housing, funding rent subsidies, ensuring we meet legislated minimum service levels, ensuring compliance with provincial legislation by our community housing providers, establishing local eligibility rules, policies, programs, and services, and allocating and administering federal and provincial programs. The county's role as service manager was established when the province transferred its obligations to 47 service managers. Although the province continues to set the overall vision and legislative framework, we manage the day-to-day operations through relationships with housing providers, such as our nonprofits, our cooperative housing providers, rent supplements, and the Huron County Housing Corporation. In March of 2022, the province introduced new regulations under the Housing Services Act, and these regulations allow for the creation of service agreements and exit agreements between the county and community housing providers as their original 35-year operating and service agreements come to an end. To address the changes in service agreements between the county and our community housing providers, Housing Services will be preparing 2 reports. The first of which will be a background report, and this will detail the current status of operating agreements. And our estimated delivery of this report is Q4 of 2024. And our follow-up report will be a recommendation report, and this will outline the options and recommendations for developing a service agreement framework. And the estimated delivery of this report is Q1 of 2025. Community housing providers are essential stakeholders. We will collaborate closely with them to develop long-term financial plans tailored to their diverse needs. As this is a new process for all service managers, we will continue to work with the province and other service managers to establish best practices. We plan to seek council approval for a framework that will guide our negotiations with housing providers. And this framework will be based on key principles, budget considerations, and regulatory requirements. We are committed to working transparently and collaboratively as we navigate these changes.
Thank you very much for that, Jamie. Do any members of council have any questions or comments of Jamie on her presentation to us this morning? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report titled End of Operating Agreements, the Terms of Reference as presented for information purposes. Councillor Finch and Past Warden Ginn. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thanks again, Jamie. Moving on to number 9, that is Homes for the Aged and the request for sole sourcing of the resident dining room furniture. Dana Meller is here to respond to any questions that council may have of this. Do we have any questions of Dana on this? And if Councillor Klopp, please.
Thank you. As I read the report, the argument that they're going to be interchangeable is obviously compelling. And it's also, though, is this also a moot issue anymore? If we've already got the numbers in front of me, then why am I even asking fellow councillors to vote on this at all? So I guess I do not see the argument that on this case we should have. I think we should ask for other tenders. But I guess I'm wondering if could you explain to me? We've already got these numbers in front of us. If the motion would be rescinded, what would that cause? That's my question.
Okay, actually, I'm going to defer to our CAO for a response to this, please. CAO work?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Warden. The reason it's in front of you is because we as a staff don't have the authority to single source. It has to come in front of County Council for consideration. So the report that's in front of you is Dana and the staff there have said their preference is to have one kind of dining room furniture within the home so that they can move it around. And with that information has to come in front of County Council for consideration. They're only able to get it from the company that is listed. But certainly I can turn it over to Dana to see if she has any further comments on potential consequences, if that is the wish of council.
Okay, thank you, CAO work. Dana, please.
Thank you, and through you, Warden. So it's very difficult as well to get the tables that you can, so the one tables, the 4 set, they are adjustable as well. So we would have to try to source other companies that do that, and they are not, most of those are within the US and not within Canada. So they are difficult, as well as these ones are stackable. So for limited space, we're able to stack them with the already, like the furniture that we already have for storage should we have to remove chairs from the dining room because of wheelchairs and etc. So
Thank you for that. Okay. Follow up, Councillor Klopp. Does that answer your question?
No, but I probably didn't ask the question right. So Mike, I understand that's all in the report. They're stackable, etc. I get that. It's just the point is we already have these numbers in front of us. So if council would say, no, we'd still like you to go out and tender. My question is, does that put us in a problem with a company that's already given us a price? That was my question.
Okay,
And I
thank you.
apologize for not making it clear enough.
Thank you for that. And I will defer to our CAO for a response to that, please.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Warden, absolutely not. All that we do in order to put these numbers is we ask for quotations from companies and then we put it in front of County Council. They fully understand that there is no commitment until there is a vote on behalf of County Council.
Okay, good with that.
I didn't turn mine off. I apologize. Thank you for that clarification. Clearly, well, I'll probably support this, but just as a comment, one of the things is we hear a lot of times, especially in this area, and it's no fault of yours or anyone else's, but it's hard to get. The companies are out in the States. I keep in mind two things. Many a times we make motions here and they're a local company, car company is $80, $300 more. And we say, we've got a free trade agreement and we can't do that. I question that, as you know, but we follow the rule. Here, a comment, well, and it's a comment, it's just a fact. Oh, well, they're American companies. We should be careful of that free trade agreement. I hope they're not listening. But even and more importantly, we clearly got this company back in 2019. At that time, was it, and I don't expect the answer now, but I'm wondering at that time when we tendered, was it tendered or was it sole searched because they were special? And that was a good argument then, but maybe it was tendered. But it's something that we should keep in the back of the mind going forward, that we don't get ourselves boxed in, that we continually have to have this argument put forth that it should be sole search because this company is the one we have, and we don't want to have 2 or 3 different kinds. The general public out there we're representing, and I look at myself, we have different equipment. We sometimes pay more. I get it, but that's my decision. I can defend this if it passes, but just something to think about down the road. And just for information for myself, or maybe for the rest, I'm just wondering, back in 2019, was it an open tender and this was how this group won by that? I would be curious of that if it could be sent to me at some point.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So we do have a recommended motion, and that is to receive the report from Dana Meller requesting sole sourcing of resident dining room furniture homes for the aged as presented, and that we engage with Stevens Sales and Marketing in the amount of $37,367.97. Is anyone prepared to make this motion? And that is moved by Past Warden McClellan, seconded by Councillor Finch. All in favor of the motion is read. And that is carried. Thank you very much, and thanks, Dana. Nothing under emergency services today. And moving on to Public Works, we have a report that is presented by that has been prepared by Donald Hastings, and Michael Blumhagen or Imran are here to respond to any questions we have on this tender. Are there any questions? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report by Donald Hastings, dated September 18th, regarding 3 4x4 pickup trucks, and in the awarding of the tender to HCPW 2020-24-12 by Finch Chevrolet for $158,446.44, including net applicable taxes of 1.76% and the appropriate drafting authorizing the road superintendent to execute the required documentation with Finch Chevrolet. Mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Vanstone moves, Councillor Harding seconds. All in favor of this motion? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. We do have a staff report that was requested at a previous meeting regarding the Mid-Huron Recycling Center illegal dumping. Imran is here, is a fulsome report, and thank you very much to staff for that. Imran is here to respond to any questions that anyone may have on this. Are there any questions or comments on this report? And I'll go to Past Warden McClellan, please.
I appreciate the fact that the staff looked into it. Unfortunately, Imran got as much information as I had the day I talked about it. I'm still really bothered by the fact that you have to have a municipal bylaw after the fact to prevent something like this happening again. To me, that seems outrageous. I don't understand that. What if they dropped it on town hall steps tomorrow? Would we have to have a municipal bylaw that says you can't do that? I've got a real problem with the fact that we didn't pressure the OPP to do something for two reasons. One, it was just plain wrong what happened. And it's still Huron County that's picking up the tab for disposing of the waste. And even if we said, well, the other company should go ahead and pay the bill of what it costs, that's still too easy, because if someone got away with doing it next time, if they didn't get away with it and all they had to do was pay the bill, that's one thing. There's something wrong with our system if the OPP aren't willing to follow up and do something here. To me, this was a serious issue, and asking Central Huron to have to come up with a bylaw to say that you can't be dumping hazardous waste on our doorstep without our permission is wrong.
Thank you for your comment. Any additional comments of County Councillor? Councillor Finch, please.
I agree with Councillor McClellan. It doesn't seem right at all. And although I'm not investigating things like that anymore, I have questions as to why it's down onto on Central Huron's, it's Central Huron's responsibility. You know, illegal dumping, that's littering at bare minimum, right? There's all sorts of different things that I think should have been looked at. But anyways, it is what it is. But I do find it interesting.
Thank you for that. Past Warden again, please.
Yeah, I agree with both the previous speakers. And I mean, paint is something that you can't just put it in the garbage, right? It's got to go through the hazardous waste. And the fact that Ministry of Environment isn't concerned with it just being dumped on the doorstep somewhere or thrown in a ditch is wrong. I think we need to send a letter to both parties saying that we're disappointed with their reaction to this. You know, no charges laid. Both forces indicated the severity of the infraction to the company. You know, that's not even a slap on the wrist. That's a, you know, you shouldn't do that. And if you do it again, I'm going to tell you, don't do it again. And if you do it again, I'm going to tell you, don't do it again. We need to take some action on this. This is ridiculous.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Bazinet, please.
I would concur with especially the last comment, because what's stopping this from happening over and over and over, right? So it's happened once, and now it'll probably happen again, and it'll happen again. I don't know what the solution is here, but I think, you know, if a letter is sent, you know, expressing our disappointment, and can you help us create a solution with this problem, because it will continue to happen again, and then it'll come at a cost like it already has. In regards to municipal bylaw, we all know that municipal bylaw only works certain hours of the day as well. So how do you enforce this if things are happening overnight, if there's no proof of the person dropping this stuff off as well? So you're just running down a rabbit hole is all you're doing at this point.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Harding.
I agree with the four previous opinions on this, and I don't know how you could think any different. This is just goes with all our policy, catch and release, and people getting away with stuff. And we got to take a stand on this. I don't know if a letter will help, but we got to do something to curb these things.
I think is Councillor Vanstone, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. I'd like to make a motion then that we send a letter to both agencies with our concerns and asking them to maybe beef up this and get back to us why this was let go like it was. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion that there would be a letter. A seconder for that is Councillor Heifer. And additional comments? Councillor Klopp, please.
And I understand the frustration, but it's the OPP, I gather they're the ones that says there has to be a bylaw in the municipality. So I don't know sending them a letter. I am taken back by the ministry. If I would leave something on the side of the road or in front of someone's house, albeit whatever, I would probably have more of a problem with them than the OPP if there was a bylaw. That rule book's pretty thick now about hazardous waste being dumped. So I get sending it to the OPP, but in a way, I think they were going to look at it and go, we already told them that part. And so I just wonder if we just be sending it to the Ministry of the Environment and asking their issue with this. And respectfully to the OPP, thank them for saying, okay, we understand there has to be a bylaw. I'm going to go right home and see if we have one, because we have people dumping on the side of the roads all the time. I just ran into a whole bunch of oil containers on the one side road that have been there for a while, and you just kind of shake your head. Maybe we can't even do anything, so we're going to go home. I'm making a note right now and sending it to Dave. But anyway, that's my thought on it.
Okay, I think we need a little bit of clarity on who we're sending this letter to. Councillor Finch, please.
You want to send, sorry, through the warden, you want to send the letter to whomever would have been responsible or responding to that call in the first place. So they're all fully aware of our disappointment. So the OPP would definitely be included in that, MECP also, because they do work as partners in investigations. I've worked many cases over the years with different agencies, and that's not uncommon. So that way both agencies are aware of our disappointment.
Okay, thank you for that. Additional comments on this subject? And I will call on the clerk to read the motion as interpreted for approval of council. Please, Clerk Cronin.
Thank you, Warden. The Council of the County of Huron requests staff send correspondence to the ministry and OPP. I will put the ministry name in there, and OPP expressing frustration with the response taken regarding the dumping of hazardous waste on municipal property.
Does that encompass what we would like to accomplish? Okay, we have a motion that has been moved and seconded. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much. And now I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report titled Mid-Huron Recycling Centre as presented for information. Councillors Klopp and P. Heifer. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much. And thanks, Imran, for that staff report to us. Under Economic Development, the 2024 Summer Company Report. Trish Denemy is here to respond to any questions that council may have on this. A very, very positive program. Do we have any questions or comments of Trish on this? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report by Trish Denemy, Business Advisor, dated today, titled 2024 Summer Company Report is presented for information of Councillor Basnet and Anderson. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried, and thanks very much, Trish. Under Administration Policies and Other Issues, the 2024 year-to-date financial reporting, our Treasurer and Director of Corporate Services, Michael Blumhagen, is here to respond to any questions that Council may have on this report. Do we have any questions of Mike? And if not, I will entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report by Michael Blumhagen, titled June 2024 year-to-date financial reporting as presented for information purposes. Moved by Councillor Basnet, seconded by Past Warden Gann. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. The 2025 Huron County Council calendar, notice of meetings, has been prepared by Labitza and Clerk Cronin, and they are here to respond to any questions the council may have on this. And Councillor Van Stone, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. And I'm sorry, but I can't print off of this piece of equipment I've got. So could I ask for a paper copy in the next meeting? Thank you very much.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you for that. I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report by Labitza and Clerk Cronin entitled the Huron County Council Calendar Notice of Meetings as presented for information, and that the calendar be approved as presented. Alvin McClellan and P. Heifer. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. I thank you very much. Number 3 is the attrition management update presented by CAO Warwick. Do we have any questions for our CAO on this report? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the report by Megan Warwick, CAO, dated September 18th, titled Attrition Management Report as presented for information purposes. Moved by Councillor Jay Heffer, seconded by Councillor Harding. All in favor of this motion? And that again is carried. Thank you. Correspondence is listed. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull? And if there is not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to accept the correspondence not specifically dealt with for information. And that is moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by P. Heffer. All in favor of this motion? And that again is carried. Thank you. If there is any new or unfinished business, please contact the CAO in advance of a future meeting so that it could be placed on a future public agenda. Past Warden McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'm actually trying to slide something in here, but it won't bother the clerk, I'm assuming, because she won't have to do any work for it yet. Got a little issue with HPPH. We had our meeting last week. We have a concern about how the province is financing public health. I think everybody here is aware of the fact that the staff took a very bold position last year, disagreed with passing it on to the property taxpayers to raise the funds. There was 13.5 people permanently let go. Some of them did it through early retirement, but the bottom line is we had to cut that many staff and we had to cut programs themselves. The funding level that the province is putting through again this year, unfortunately, staff have already come back with a report that they're going to have to cut more staff and cut more programs. Now, we had quite a discussion, but the problem is HPPH technically works for the government more than they work for us. It's pretty hard for them, and they're not a political body. So I'm wondering if we would have support from County Council to send a letter out to all the other municipalities asking, because every one of them must be in the same boat, asking that the province take a look at this, because this, to me, is a pretty serious situation. They are starting down a slippery slope. Now, at this point, the board has already approved an increase over and above what our share would have normally been. Nowhere near what it would have been to actually cover the cost of the operation. But even when we start going this way, if we start to pick up the tab, we're concerned that the province will continue year after year to ask us to pick up more of it. And it shouldn't be property taxes paying for healthcare in the province. I apologize if I'm kind of springing you on this, but we only had this meeting last Friday. We think this is a pretty serious situation. We need to get some sort of direction before we get our budget underway. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I would suggest that maybe under councillor comments, it would have been appropriate place for that. Or what about a notice of motion for a future meeting? Would that be appropriate?
And I'm certainly fine with that at this time then, Mr. Warden, which I guess is in 30 seconds.
Right on. Yeah. Okay. So clerk, please.
You need to present a notice of motion much more formally at the beginning of the meeting. What I would recommend, Councillor McClellan, is you prepare some sort of letter that you request council to support and bring it to us under a notice of motion at the next meeting. Or you can bring it under or send it to us for support under correspondence, or whichever way you prefer to do that. But you have to have a written notice of motion that is very clear as to the direction, and you don't have completely clear direction right now. So I'm suggesting that you bring this back at the next meeting with clear direction so council can fully understand what it is you're going to be asking all municipalities on Ontario to support.
Can I ask for one other clarification? Because I'm concerned about the fact that all bodies are starting to work on their next year's budget. If I do the notice of motion at the next meeting, would it be not till the end of October that we actually have a vote on this? And if in fact that's the case, if I brought back a letter of what I'm asking to be sent out if county council approved of the letter. Could that happen at the next council meeting?
Thanks for the question. Clerk, on process, please.
You're absolutely correct with regards to the notice of motion. With the notice of motion, you present it, you have it all prepared, you give it to the warden and myself prior to the meeting, and then it goes under notice of motion where you have a mover and a seconder, and then it will be going on the next meeting after that for the vote as to whether county council would support it. So it would be a minimum the end of October. Okay, the second meeting in October. If you would prefer, you can certainly draft something up and you can send it to us. We can consider it under correspondence, and you can ask county council to support that, and that would be at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I may contact the clerk on this because she's got better writing skills than I do.
No worries. Thank you very much for that. And I hope that everyone can appreciate that we must follow process, because if we allowed this at this meeting, it would continue at a future meeting, and we need to follow our procedural bylaw. So thank you very much for that. Does anyone have a notice of motion that they would like to bring forward at this time? Seeing none, we have no bylaws today or a closed session. Our upcoming meetings are tomorrow at 9 a.m. The virtual special meeting on Indigenous Relations Workshop that I would sincerely encourage every member of County Council to participate in. Our Huron County Accessibility Advisory Committee is next Monday, the 23rd of September. Council Day 1 is the 2nd of October in these council chambers, and of course it's hybrid. Economic Development meets on the 3rd, the Library Board on the 9th, and Council Day 2 would be the 16th of October. Again, a hybrid meeting in these council chambers. With that, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to confer the confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Harding and Councillor Finch, that the Corporation of the County of Huron confirm the proceedings, and that this be introduced, given a first, second, and third reading, be passed, signed by the warden and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation affixed thereto as to the procedural bylaw. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much to all members of County Council and our staff for your input today. And with that, I would entertain a mover and a seconder for adjournment, please. Surprisingly, Councillors Dietrich and Jay Heffer, that we adjourn at 10:01 a.m. to meet again the 2nd day of October at 9 a.m. or at the call of the warden and the clerk. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much, and thanks all.